Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
Welcome to Seriously Dad. Today we're talking to Manny Santiago. He's a comedian. He's an expecting father. Is he ready? Is he the strict dad? Is he the funny dad? Is he the cool dad? We don't know. Check the episode.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad? Two father comedians out of Philadelphia. Seriously, Dad?
Dad? Seriously?
Dad?
Seriously? Seriously?
I'm excited today. We got coming via Harrisburg, a guy that I've loved watching perform because you talk about breaking down the fourth wall and just being in the room and creating an experience for people. Manny's like none other. So I'm excited to have from the Harrisburg Comedy Zone. He's also got a great podcast called A Boy in His Fridge with Mike O'Donnell. Please give it up for Manny Santiago.
Hey, I'm the audience here.
Yeah.
Using satellites, right? That's how you.
Yeah, we're coming via
connection.
satellite
Is that right?
today.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Technology, baby.
I hope I'm not on too much of a delay.
No, you're great.
You're good, man.
Coming via satellite from Tel Aviv. I just remember watching CNN as a kid and always.
There's always a satellite out
it was always
Tel Aviv.
like
Yeah.
back when Iraq War.
There's no fake background behind me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is all real. There's like the barking dogs and everything are gonna be real.
Nice.
Also, thank you for that, Jay. That was a very nice intro.
Man. Dude, honestly, I seriously like when you talk about you watch people and someone of myself who's doesn't have as many years and when you watch people break down a wall like that and create that's something that's so I think fearful for people right off the bat is to go into the crowd because that's a variable you don't know what's going to happen when you do that and you win you lose but you got to dare to suck and I've never seen you suck, but I'm sure it's happened.
Oh yeah, it's happened.
I'm sure there's layers on this one.
Where I kind of broke that fear because I was afraid of doing that too. Kind of just to talk about comedy for a little bit. And what broke that was I'm a juggler, and for a little bit I went down to Miami to street perform, and we had to bark and get people to watch us. So it got kind of easy to translate that to stage. You know what I mean? It's like no one in an audience at a comedy show is ruder than the people that that have walked by us doing all this crazy shit.
Yeah, that's how I feel like middle schoolers. That's I think for me I've people always say oh I can't believe you only been doing it X amount of years or whatever because I think when you have other pieces like that bring into it. It helps break that tension and all of those things. I think, the fact that we even get up there and do that, I was talking with a comic the other day, it was just the fact that you get up there and do that is amazing. And I think it lends it, but you're about to have a whole lot of material coming your way coming this June, man. So you're not even actually a father yet. And that was why we were so excited to have, we haven't had anybody who's about to be a father. So this is going to be the first time, this is gonna be your first kid that you know of, right? No,
yeah, that I know of.
Yeah. That's exciting, man. So take us.
Yeah, I would say. But before you give us a back, what do you think? What are you preparing yourself? What do you think's going to happen? Because I know what happens. What do you think's going to happen? How do you think this breaks down?
Well, I know there's going to be a substantial change in my attitude about a lot of things. It's already kind of seeping in a little bit, just how I'm thinking of I've always been the type of person that kind of lived in the moment, you know what I mean? And this is kind of making me oh no, I have a future that I can look forward to now,
Nice.
And that's the coolest thing for me. Cause I've never actually had something like that before. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for, experiencing firsts, you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't wait till my daughter is the age where I can introduce her to things I grew up with that I really liked, and for her to just hate them and me to feel all right, well.
How did it feel? How did it feel just saying daughter right there? Does that sound
it's
surreal?
It's I can't. I still. It sounds weird coming out of my mouth.
Did you find out? So you found out obviously already. It's going to be a girl. Was that something you guys wanted to do from the get go? Did both of you want to know from the get go, or did either you want to be surprised, or what?
No, we both pretty much wanted to know from the get go. I mean, she already has a daughter.
Okay.
Nice. And I think she wanted another daughter just because she's kind of been through it before and she knows what to kind of expect, so to speak. But yeah.
sorry, I cut people
No,
off.
no, I'm sorry.
But when you said wanted another daughter, so you planned on becoming a father.
I didn't plan on
Okay,
becoming a
all right.
father.
So you was like, hey, life is good, and now I'm going to be a father.
Yeah,
Nice.
Life is good, and now it's gonna get better. You know, it's
Did you
gonna,
freak
yeah.
out? Did you freak out? Were you like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm going to be a dad? Because yeah, you're probably playing doing fatherly responsibilities because she has another child.
Yeah,
Did it freak you out when it was like, it's going to be my child?
yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like, like it's still, I don't know, just even talking about it right now is like, oh shit, like I'm actually
Yeah.
like having a baby. It's great, and I'm looking at I bought a onesie yesterday, and I'm looking at it right now. It's hung up.
Does it say anything
It's
cool on it? What does it say? Just everything.
it's just bumblebees, you know. It's a
Word, yeah.
little.
They're cool.
Classic. Now, dude, so she has. How old is her daughter?
Her daughter's like she's 7 right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
All
cool.
right.
Had you spent much time around her daughter? I know you guys are transitioning.
Yeah. I'm actually babysitting right now, so.
Oh, sweet.
Well, you're not. You're talking to
Well,
you're
yeah.
talking to us, so you're not doing.
She's 7.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
she can do her own
Yeah,
thing
she's
right
doing
now.
Yeah, no, that's so you've been around. So had you been around kids growing up, or like, because I had nothing. I was the youngest. I was an only child, so like for me, it was like a whole new ball game.
Yeah, so I'm one of 4 kids. Well, I'm one of 5 kids actually. But my sister's younger. So for a while it was just me and my 3 older brothers. And single mom,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I was pretty much raised by my brothers because she had to work all the time. Dad's not in the picture.
Yep.
He left kind of early. But yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, had you ever changed a diaper, stuff like that? Because if you had older
Oh
brothers,
yeah. So
Okay.
a friend of mine, I basically helped raise 2 of her kids with her
Nice.
because I mean, coming right out of high school, she had a baby, and baby's dad kind of, you know how baby's dads are sometimes.
Yeah, that's
not
we're familiar
ours,
with
but
that.
yeah, there.
Right. But so and I moved in with her, and I
Oh,
helped
wow, that's
her
really cool.
with her daughter, and then she had another baby. I don't want to get too much into her business, but it was with the same baby's dad.
It's a very good point.
No, but you've had some experience more than certainly I
Yeah.
had. So that's huge. I think that, I mean, it's different when it's yours. It's like before, it's kind of like the rental scenario.
Yeah,
like
it
the
is
bull
like
you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
to
You don't
return
have
them
to
at the
do
end.
a whole lot. You return them at the end. That's
Yeah.
it. As long as it's
Yeah.
not broken and you got the little damage waiver, you don't have
Yeah.
to worry
Yeah.
about it anyway. And then when it's yours though, they're there. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
100% your responsibility all the time. And then the other thing about having your own kid that's different when someone else's kid is the stuff they do. They probably learn from you.
Right.
The good and the bad. And sometimes you see yourself, sometimes you see like your kids have like a negative trait and you're like, you
That's me.
fucking got
I
that from
did
me.
that. Yeah,
I
that's
can't
me.
even, I
Oh,
can't
shit.
even really get mad. I am the one who created that and I can't stand it. But I mean, that's me all day.
Yeah,
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I've already like paid attention to all of my like negative traits, and I'm waiting for my daughter to have at least a few of those that
Right.
I can be like, damn,
And one of the
you,
other things
you got that from me.
But like you're gonna like they also need a non-example of stuff. So like some of the
Mm.
stuff that we have that we can't mask. Like we hope that we put our best foot forward, but inevitably there are pieces of us as human beings that are just deficient. And at the end of the day, like I think sometimes my girls will see that and say, "Oh, well, I don't want that for myself." In the same way I look at my parents and say, "Oh, I see how my mom has these tendencies. I really hope that I don't have those." So sometimes like
When-
even that is
When do you
good.
think someone sees like that's a really good point, and you see tendencies in your parents. You're like, I don't want to be that person.
I didn't say
But how
until I was
old?
adult.
And you saw it like in hindsight.
Yeah, it was hindsight
Okay.
2020 for sure.
Okay. Now, see, I feel like I saw a lot of things in real time where I'm like, when I'm a grown up, I won't be doing that stuff.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I feel like I saw it in real time.
Well, I knew like my dad wasn't around either. Right, like about 2, my parents had split, so I didn't have any like real memories of my parents ever being together. And then my dad sort of was on a journey to figure himself out, so he just wasn't emotionally available. And we did the every other weekend for a little bit when I was like, 9 to 13.
always fizzles.
Yeah.
Always fizzles.
And it just
I did that.
Well,
I did that too.
he had gotten remarried, and I think that had reignited him into trying to like nuclear family it
Okay.
while he was still pretending he was straight, and then he was like, okay, yeah, these two women now, it's not working out. I'm just gonna.
It's me.
It's me.
I'm the common denominator here. It's
I'm the
actually
problem.
me.
Yeah,
And I know
he
exactly what the
and he,
problem
doubled
is.
down on going to church on Sundays and like all these other. I mean, if there was Chick-fil-A, I'm sure we would have been eating Chick-fil-A all the time. But yeah, no, when you don't have that model, you want to be that. So like for me, I didn't feel like I didn't have a template. So is there any piece of you that's saying, hey, my dad, like I think we overdo it. I mean, I know I go hard, like I overdo things with my daughters, and now I'm kind of
because of the absentee
and
father
now
thing.
like my one daughter's going to be 10 in the fall, my other daughter's going to be 7 around the time that your daughter's going to be born, and I'm like, I've already made it. Like I've already quintupled
the amount of fatherly
amount of
effort
time.
that
Yeah,
you
so it's like,
receive.
Yeah.
so part of me's now, but it also feels like uncharted territory, and I don't want to. I'm wondering, am I experiencing some of the feelings that maybe he felt at that point? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish I had that piece of the puzzle sometimes to really understand.
What you mean, like to call him and ask him, like, what do I do here?
Yeah,
Dad?
like,
Yeah,
what
I
was
don't
going
think I've
through
ever
your
called my
head?
parents and asked, what do I do here? I'm not trying to be tough. I don't think I ever had. I don't think I did. I don't think. Maybe a
Like for
couple of
help
times.
or
hey, my daughter's
Or
doing
even
this.
just
What do
like,
you recommend?
or just like, yeah, or even just like, what were you thinking at this point in your life? Because I think we get so jaded by the time we're high schoolers that we want to separate ourselves from our parents, that it's not until we're way older that we start to realize, oh, they're an asset, and like we can use them to.
Well, you also got to remember he's got fatherly responsibilities that he's already performed
doing, which
as
I think
as
is
a
huge.
youngster, and then as a young adult with the other situation.
You
So
grow up fast. in
this
that
guy's
scenario.
like, he's like 2.5 the parents we were before we started.
That's true.
right? You know what I mean? Like you got a leg up on us.
That's true.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing that too. That means a lot to
Yeah, I mean,
to
I feel
actually
like-
know that was actually like, worthwhile experience in my life. I mean, I knew it was worthwhile experience when I was experiencing it, but like now where it's like, oh shit, like I'm actually the one that's in the driver's seat here. You know what I mean? It's like, damn,
that's a powerful
it's
turning
real.
point. That's
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
point. That's a very powerful turning point. When you're like, this is my family now,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
all the wrongs that I experienced, this is my turn to do it better than what I experienced. And I remember feeling that way when I had a daughter that I didn't plan on entering the world. So when I found out about it, and in my first few months of being a parent, I was like, I can write the book. I can write this book however I want. I'm the author. I can make changes to this book. I can, you know what I mean? Like I'm in charge. And that was actually very liberating, because you don't have to do the things that you experienced, because you can fill those holes when you're doing them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that's a powerful moment. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to the point earlier, like the skills, you didn't realize that those were skills you were developing when you were helping your friend out of high school and helping, with the 7-year-old now. Like you don't realize sometimes that those skills are part of that prep. Like, and that's why like silly stuff, like we do sports and stuff like that in high school and youth, because we don't realize those are skills that are teaching us how to be a good teammate, how to be a good role model, how to. Like I even think about that stuff with stand up. I was a baseball coach for 18 years. I stopped doing that. And now I'm realizing I'm taking all of those skills that I applied to help coach other people to now coach myself and some of the stuff I'm doing. So sometimes we don't realize we're being trained for things, or skills and other things can, like even your juggling and things like that. Like now all of a sudden,
Oh, you'll be juggling.
you can
motherfucker.
mentally
There's
juggle
no way
all the
juggling.
things that your brain can
Yeah, you're
handle
gonna be
that.
juggling,
Yeah.
brother. You're gonna be moving, man. Your ears are gonna be working hard. So wait, I think I asked you, what do you expect, and what are you fearful of? Like, what are the concerns you have going into it?
I
Because
think-
there's a little bit of fear with every expecting parent,
Yeah.
right?
I think my big fears are what's the saying? Repeat the sins of our fathers, kind of
Yeah.
like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like I know that like I'm not gonna repeat the sins of my fathers. I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna be there. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't plan. At least I don't plan on leaving. Like I plan on being there for her entire life, or as long as she'll have me. But
That's probably more accurate.
I just don't want, because then I go back to when my mom raised me, and like sort of the disciplinary stuff that she did on me. Like I don't want to repeat any of that kind of stuff that I felt was negative. And looking back now as an adult, I can see was kind of like not the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have had that. You guys are older than I am, I assume.
I don't know where you got that from. We did not share that
Yeah.
information prior.
I'm gonna be 40 in 2 weeks.
I'm 39.
Yeah, so I'm
yeah.
sure you guys as parents, they kind of, I mean, they were raised differently too, in a much different time where a lot more stuff was acceptable back then, and a lot more stuff was less diagnosed back then. You know,
Yeah. Yes.
so I just don't want to repeat any of my parents' mistakes, and I don't want to say they were mistakes because altogether they helped make me the person I am today.
That's it.
Yeah,
and I think I'm a
that's
pretty
important
well.
too.
Yeah, I think I'm a
Because-
pretty well-established person. I don't know.
You seem pretty. You got your shit together. You're doing well. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
You know, but yeah, there is like you're. Were your parents doing wrong, or were they doing the best they could, and the outcome was the outcome that it was? Parenting
Right,
is one of the
yeah.
only jobs where you don't get like a employer review until it's over. You
Yeah,
don't find out how you did until your kids are in their 30s. And
Yeah.
they're talking
Yeah.
about you on a goddamn podcast.
Yeah,
That's how you
yeah.
find out, you know what I mean?
Well, everybody's dealt a hand, and all you can do is say,
You
"All right,
played
this
the
is the
best
hand
you
I
can,
got."
yeah.
There, okay. The flop just got there, so now I know how I can. And that's all it is. Your mom was doing the best she could with 3 boys, and then eventually a girl in the way, and
Yeah.
you know.
and I don't want to sound like I'm like taking away from my mom did a great job. She was excellent. I mean, she did everything that she
dude.
could do.
I
With
believe
us. I don't
that.
want to
Yeah,
make it sound
absolutely.
like I'm just completely.
I don't think you made it sound like that.
No, I don't think it came off. I think
No.
everybody knows. And the minute you say single mother, I think there
Yeah.
is already a status, at least in my mind, that's like
Yes, that is
boom,
100% true.
There's like a status up here that you already get saint
Yeah.
status. Like
That is
you're already
100% true.
canonized in my mind.
Single mother, multiple
Yeah.
children. Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
next tier, right? It's like
Yeah.
and she came here from Puerto Rico. She didn't speak
There you
English. Like
Yeah,
There's
it was,
so
it
many
was a
other
lot.
variables. That's a perseverance. That's someone who had ambition and knew. In the same way I talked about my my family on previous episodes, where I think my parents genuinely wanted to be parents. I think they really did, and they were fighting a time when it wasn't. They had to fight what their natural inclinations were to be like my mom, and my mom and my dad are both gay now. I think they always were gay. I think they weren't in a time where they were allowed to be. So the fact that they fought hard to still be parents, when nowadays you can be a parent no matter what. You can decide what gender. I mean, there's so many non-binary. Like
Yeah.
the world's a much different place than '80s Scranton for them. So like I have nothing but mad respect for both of my parents, even though my dad had his own path for a while. He and I are on better terms now, but like I have mad respect for them because they, like your mother coming over from Puerto Rico, like there's challenges there that none of us have to face.
Yeah. I think we get numb to that. I think we forget how powerful it is, because like you think about what type, like how badass a single mother has to be, or a single mother with multiple children.
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane. You're like an NBA caliber parent. You know what I mean? We take it for granted because we see it more than we see NBA players, right?
Yeah.
But like the amount of effort you have to put in, how hard you got to work, the amount of repeating yourself and repeating steps and everything you got to do is extremely difficult, especially if you're working, right? Maybe you're working 2 jobs, raising 2 children. That's like LeBron James shit, man. That's serious. And I think sometimes we see it and we're like, oh yeah, she's just a single mother. But it's like, no, she's not just a single mother. She's a fucking single mother. Like, you know what I mean? You got to change how you look at that. I would say,
And that your girlfriend's probably someone in the same vein now. Like you're looking at her in the same way, like with the same kind of respect that I would imagine you think of your mother. Like, so that's
100%.
Seeing her be a mom and see how she's already been a mom, and so that's got to be a point of comfort. Like knowing that your partner in this is someone who knows the terrain, has been here. That's got to be huge. How do you think you guys are going to do with the co-parenting on that? Like they're in real time. Like Al and I have been talking about, because Al, obviously has his kids separate from time because he's a custody parent. So he gets to sort of dictate what goes on in his house on the weekends with the girls. But like I have to negotiate in real time with my wife, like something that's happening in front of us. And that's a team sport all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You have to be able to pass that ball and not know. Do you guys feel like, have you already started talking a little bit about how you guys are gonna like manage some of that stuff, or how do you guys do
I
it?
mean, we're I think we're gonna take it as it goes. I don't know if that sounds very comfortable for you guys. But we're already like on the same wavelength with a lot of things, which is great. I mean, her and I, like, I mean, we're mentally, I feel like we get each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think with that, it's going to be more of a, as everything comes, we'll take it as, we go. Cause I mean, she hasn't really done a co-parenting thing either. So that's going to be kind of new for her to experience. So I think we're gonna go through it in stride and hope we come out on the other
That's
end.
like the best. You should run for office. That is the best. It's the truth, not like no bullshit. Like that's the truth. Because like I guess when I ask that question in my head, I'm thinking of stuff like my wife and I had very different backgrounds. Like her family, her parents are still together. They had 3 kids. They've been together since her mom was 18, and so like she's comes from like a strong like family dynamic. So like and I come from a single parent household for a good portion, and then my mom was married to another woman, so those were two my mom. So I did have a 2-parent household for a while, but it wasn't in a traditional sense, and we weren't, wasn't that same way. So now I look to my wife a lot of times for like the template for
how do we
what
be a
things are-
family?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and I
Like,
think
oh,
we
this is
both
a family thing. What do you think about that?
right.
Yeah.
But then she also, I realized, had certain things, even though her family was a nuclear family and all that, there were certain things about her family that still, even though it may
well,
look
none of them
right,
are
it's
none of
not-
them are
nothing-
perfect.
exactly.
None of them are perfect. So a couple of things. None of them are perfect, and also it's like what Mike Tyson, right? Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? Parenting is like the ultimate, right in the jaw. You kind of know, but right, like you have
You're
a
right.
plan,
Yeah.
and then you think you're headstrong and you got it, but a tantrum from a 3-year-old is tough. Like
Yeah.
you had a
Yeah.
plan going into that, and sometimes you're like, fine, Skittles for dinner, just shut up, like you know what I mean? And like your plan was to make dinner, but you got
You get things will come up. Yeah, hey, well, I didn't think my oldest is autistic too. That was something I didn't see coming. And like, I remember when we got the paperwork, I'm like, oh, you're gonna have to change that. You guys made a mistake. I was like, you spelt normal wrong. That says autism. I was like, and like, so some of those things I didn't plan, and now it's like amazing. And my mom said that to me the other day. She's like, it's amazing the 180 I saw you do from that. Like, because there's always gonna be something. Something's gonna happen. There's I think that's what do they say? Smooth seas don't make great sailors. You know what I mean? Like, and that's it. So do you guys, do you have any unsolicited advice coming your way from family and friends?
Oh,
Anything like
yeah.
that?
Oh,
'Cause that's
sure
like
you
it
do.
starts
yeah.
creeping in.
It's-
Have you gotten any weird or,
I
unwanted-
think every time I tell a parent, or because I've worked it into my act already about having kids
you
and
got
stuff, and I'll have people come up to me occasionally afterwards, then they'll just give me advice. Like it's oh, you're having
anything
kids.
wacky, anything stand out?
Well, there was a person. It wasn't really advice. I had a guy tell me I was going to get fat, and I don't know if that's that's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know. But I've always kind of been the same size, so I don't think having a baby is going to be the thing that changes. I don't know. Maybe it was the secret.
You meant like a weight soothsayer?
Yeah.
You meant somebody who
because-
was like, you were being tricked. You're like, yes, I see fatness in your future.
Yeah, he did have his eyes closed when he said it too.
No, was he, and I'm assuming he was a big guy?
Yeah,
or
he's
no?
definitely fake.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, we
just wanted you to be like
speaking
him.
from the Big Guy Association of America, we like to do that. We like to project onto you skinny folks.
Yeah.
It's just part of
It
our
was fun.
act.
It was funny. It made me laugh.
And you got family support, like so. How's that stand? Like, do you have grandma,
Mom
aunt,
excited
uncle,
to be a
people
grandma?
helping, or
Yeah,
you
my
feel like on
mom.
your
My
own?
mom was really excited. I made it because I told her on Christmas, and I came over to her place, and I was like, I don't have a present for you now, but in a couple months from now, I'll have a present for you. And she was like,
Did
"Are
she
you having
get
a
it right off
baby?"
the jump?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was like, "You're having a baby?" I was like, "Yeah."
Now, are
And
you
she
your
got
3
really
brothers?
excited.
Have they had kids yet? Or your 2 brothers?
My brother, my one brother did. We're just waiting on my second brother because my oldest brother, he's gay, so that's probably not in his future. Or I guess
It
he
could be.
adopt.
It could be.
Yeah. But yeah. So my other brother has a daughter. She's I think like six or seven.
Okay, so you're okay.
yeah.
So
So,
you're-
but there was still excitement there, right? It wasn't like, oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
experienced that. Okay. So
Yeah,
she
everyone's
started crying on
excited.
Christmas, right? She started crying on Christmas.
Oh yeah, my mom.
Yeah.
She texts me every day, like
Yep.
I'm because she's into crocheting.
Okay.
So she's
Good.
making like hats and mittens and stuff. And I actually just a couple weeks ago, my sister she announced that she was pregnant. So
Hey, look at your family grow.
Look at that.
yeah.
Good.
So
That's
Pretty
I don't think it
exciting.
ever gets old. I mean, at our wedding, they signed. My mom had a napkin petition for kids like at the wedding, and she like had everybody sign it and send it to our suite. I think it doesn't matter if they have. I was the only child, so I was the only shot.
What are you talking
They
about?
had a napkin. So at our wedding, they passed a napkin petition around requesting grandkids immediately.
Why on a
Oh,
napkin?
wow.
Because that's all they had at the wedding.
Because
Because it was at the
hall. What happened?
it was at the wedding. It was at the dinner. So they were talking at the table and
and you
they decided that they wanted grandkids immediately.
you still have it.
And
The napkin.
I think we have it on
I
like
feel like
an
that's something
album
you
or
would
a
hang on to.
scrapbook.
Wow.
But it was very aggressive. I'm like, what do you want me to bend her over the sweetheart table? Like, what are we doing here? Like, give us a chance. But like when I told my mom,
Get the photographer over here.
Yeah,
We're gonna
right.
do this.
Yeah. That turns into a
upgrade
different kind of
package,
wedding.
do we have-
Yeah, here we go. Pull that liver to the front.
I
but
gotta say,
they,
it was weird before they did that last song. It was
That's-
very
It was
strange
so
until
weird.
they hit that song. The shuffle was fun, but it was weird. That's all I gotta say.
we and then when we finally got it wasn't until like 2.5 years into being married that we had our first. But I remember calling my mom and telling her and trying to drop hints like, yeah, Amanda said she doesn't want to clean the litter box for at least 9 months now, and she doesn't want to go have sushi anymore for like. And I kept trying to drop these hints.
Did it work?
And nothing. She wasn't. So I had to just point blank tell her. And then I kid you not, within 2 hours, which is how long it takes.
Did she just? I'm
Scranton-
sorry to interrupt, but did she just at first think that like she was being just hard to deal with?
Yeah, well, and
she's
she
like,
was
wow, she doesn't want to
defending
clean the
her.
litter
She's like,
box or eat sushi.
Well, you need to pick up the
isn't
slack
that what
and do
pregnant
that, and
means? Hard to
maybe
do
her
that.
taste changed. Like she just kept defending every stance I would say on it, and then like as soon as I just point blank told her the exact amount of time it takes from when you would get in the car to get down from Scranton was her at the doorstep, like, and
No
then
shit.
and then she hasn't left. Then she's moved in with us, and since
Oh,
then
wow.
we've been living together for almost a decade.
Yeah, as soon as you say you're having a baby, it's an invitation
Like,
for
she
parents.
was
to
like,
move.
"I'm down. I want to be a grandma." Like,
They get very like hoarderish when it comes to grandkids. They want they just want more. You already have something. They just always want a few more grandkids. Like they get. I think it's because they get to enjoy the fun stuff and they get to leave, obviously. But
Yeah.
but you know
Not
they
when
get really into
not
it.
my situation. She's there.
She never left. Yeah, she's
there. Well, which is hard because now you got an extra set of hands in the house, an extra opinion on how something should be done. Like,
Well, yeah. So when it comes to like child rearing, that's the
Yeah, that's the
proper
term.
term. Like, what do you want your style to be? Like, what kind of dad do you want to be? You want to be the strict guy? You want to be the mellow
I don't
guy?
know.
You want to be the don't curse in front of my kids guy? You want
Yeah.
what's your ideal? Who's your favorite father?
Okay, so have you guys watched the show? It's on Hulu. I don't know what. I think it's like a Fox show or something. It's called The Parent Test.
Negative.
no,
Really? Oh, you guys would love that because it's
You guys
literally
are into
like
parenting and shit. Yeah.
yeah. Well, they literally get parents that parent different styles, and they put them through like these tests with their kids. Like they'll have parents that parent like a strict style, parents that parent like a free range style, parent. You know what I mean? Just like a whole bunch of
Yeah.
different, and then they'll
Right.
compare to see which style of parenting is the best. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The strict parent, his kid is like fucking like that kid is amazing. Like that kid's he's super smart. Like he does everything like without a lot of telling him to do. But I don't want to be like that. I want to be I want to be like a fun parent. I don't know. Doesn't everyone want to be a fun parent?
I would think so.
Like,
You do it at first going in, and then once you have the kid, and you're like, because there's this weird thing where you want to like. You think parenting is about showing off your obedience of kids in public, and that's not really true. Like, it's really weird. Like, I think some people have this like Norman Rockwell thing, like they want their kids to be perfect in public, and like it's just not the reality. Like, it's just.
Well, I think it's a lot of people too that don't have kids expect your kids to be like
Yes.
well behaved too.
Yeah, we talked
and if
about
they're
that.
not,
Fuck
it's like a
those things.
reflection
We're not-
on you. Yeah, it's
It's not
I've
a
never
reflection
understood
on you.
that. No, I never understood that.
Sometimes a 6-year-old is just being a 6-year-old. Like that
Right,
doesn't mean you're
yeah.
a bad parent. That means the kid is. I feel like I've said this a million times. Like it's a 6-year-old. There's a lot going on there.
It's just,
you know
I
what
mean, Manny doesn't have that problem. Manny, it sounds like you've been around kids a bunch. I grew up with a family with a bunch of little kids. As soon as you understand it, even when you're a teenager, you understand little kids. They're just little kids. You
They're
can't
just-
do
yeah,
anything about it.
they're
So
they're-
Yeah.
they're-
And
gonna do
I always
whatever
taught
goes.
high school, and so I didn't have other kids around growing up. So it was like for me, everything was new. Like my daughter's fighting is like new. Like I don't know how much is normal for them to be yelling at each
Yeah.
other.
I think
The MMA style that they do is weird.
That's
It's
weird. Like,
very
the
strange.
headlocks- The headlocks.
We got a
I
good
think
ground
two girls.
game.
I
We
think
gotta-
2 girls are gonna fight a lot. I think that's like
That's just natural.
2 boys are gonna fight. I mean, a boy and a girl. I think they're all gonna fight a ton, right? Don't they?
Yeah. How is the 7-year-old? Is she excited? To
She
be a
got good
big
hands.
sister?
She's super excited. We told her, and it was I remember like telling her. She started crying and everything, and
Really?
we all cried. We all had a good cry. It was
Oh my
it was
gosh.
nice. It's very nice. I'm feeling like emotions that I've never felt before, and it's
That's
really
good,
really
dude.
it's really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Nice,
He's like,
good
I
for
think
you.
you feel.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's true.
cool.
It is. I can tell. It comes across. Like even though you're not in studio with us, like I feel like that energy came across from the get go.
Manny, you are glowing. I just want to say
Thank
that.
you.
You are
Oh,
thank you.
glowing,
Oh,
Manny.
That sheen will wear off. But yeah, you're.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's the reflection. I'm sorry. I didn't get the lighting
dude,
right.
sit in
I
it,
feel-
enjoy it. It's like there's nothing better.
I do also feel like the other kid really, really wants a younger sibling until it's like babies cry. I've seen my daughter get frustrated at the maturity differences between her and her sister.
Right.
You know, that's like a 4-year
Or the
difference.
attention being pulled
attention.
away from.
I don't think the attention ever. It did happen,
Yeah.
naturally, but I don't think it ever really got to my daughter. But she starts to annoy her with like her childish antics. You know what I mean? With her being a kid, and they have a great relationship, and she was very excited, and there was a level of high excitement, and then reality came back, and it was like this little person kind of gets on my nerves a lot.
Yeah.
And it gets like. So
Well, and you guys
were-
you're going to be so tired. You and your partner, you're going to be so tired.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. Just you guys are just like, you're going to be wrecked. You're done.
You're gonna be
just
so-
just
Yeah,
wrap it
yeah.
up.
I'm so excited.
We're gonna
guys.
turn that
I
glow
cannot
off.
wait.
It's
We actually
also-
secretly hate your glow as
And
a
these
This
problem.
happens with every parent. This happens with every parent, man. I've been hearing it a bunch, so it's all
Yeah.
great. Yeah. They're
It's-
just like,
it's
enjoy
like,
it
hey,
now.
But you're gonna be
Yeah.
so tired that I think what's gonna happen is that of the daughter who's 7 is you're not gonna have the patience sometimes for like, so there is gonna be a little bit of that where you guys are exhausted, you're trying to do your best, she wants X, Y, and Z, and she's not gonna be able to get that. And so there are gonna be those things because that's just natural. Like those kind of things just happen, and you guys taking things in stride is the
He also
best.
has a babysitter benefit. I mean, that's great. So when your daughter's like 4 years old, 7, I mean that's
She's 11. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you got a babysitter. That's awesome.
Hey, that's how I was
That's
raised.
awesome.
You know what I mean?
You know how much you know how much babysitters cost? You got to pay them like benefits now. It's not
Wait,
easy.
what do you think a babysitter costs?
It's got to be
Yeah.
the dog.
The dog's
What-
upset
what the
about the
dog
price.
says.
The
The dog's
dog's
like, dude,
mad
I'm
about the
paying-
price.
like a night
We
of
didn't say
babysitter's got to
dog
be
sitter.
like
Settle down.
$400.
Wait, $400 for
No.
how much?
That's not for like a night of
For
a
a night?
babysitter.
Are you outside of your?
Is that high or
freaking
low?
mind?
Is that high or low?
That's
That
too-
better
that's-
be like a monthly thing.
Yeah, that's-
Okay, what do you pay for a babysitter?
So
Do you-
I pay
don't
my
use babysitters.
babysitter. The average on Google, I believe it was like 15 to 20 an hour. So if we're going out for like 4 hours, I'm dropping her $60, and I'm feeding her.
You're definitely doing better than the
Hold up.
people I know who get babysitters. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
like if Amanda wants to come out to a show, and my mom's got bingo that night, then we'll drop a sitter for like 3 hours. But we'll try to plan it out. Like, but yeah, and we have 2 girls, so obviously sometimes you got to take that into account that they're.
I know people who can't even get a sitter. They
We
can't
have-
even lock it down.
We have
They can't
three.
even
We have 3 high school girls who like we rotate
on retainer.
through.
You got a
Yep.
retainer.
Nice.
I know people who can't even get sitters.
Really?
How do you advertise for babysitters? Is that
So
like
so you can. There actually is some websites, but the best thing is to go through like your Facebook community pages, and there will be other people on there whose kids babysit, and then you can.
But
get
he doesn't need that because he's got the benefit of a babysitter.
No,
He's got-
no,
Yeah.
because no.
Well, we do have like
you
a
need
village
like 6
behind
years.
us.
There's going to be 6 years before that older sister can really you'd feel
Right,
comfortable
yeah.
leaving.
Yeah,
We're
I
not gonna
guess
leave
that's
it.
true.
We're
Yeah,
not gonna leave it.
10-year-old
And you're not
or
going to not
8-year-old.
go out for 6 years.
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, if you have a neighborhood kid, or like my wife and I are both teachers, so we pull from kids. That way, we get the inside scoop on the
See,
kid.
he's got a different read on it. That's the thing.
But you can go through Facebook group pages that are in your community, and then parents will chime in and say, "Hey, my daughter's 14. She'll be happy to babysit."
I know people who can't even secure the babysitter.
And it's probably depending on where you are and where you're
Yeah.
at, like and what's going. Like,
and like credentials, maybe, right? Like
well, yeah,
if
and
someone's
you always
an
ask for
ex-nursery school
references. You
teacher-
always ask them, and you kind of ask them.
Yeah,
to
but like if
talk
I
to
was
other
if I
families.
was like a former teacher, or I was in college for education, and then there's another person who's in high school, and they're just a body who can watch a kid. There's going to be a price difference there, right? You're paying for the.
No, you're
for
right.
the
You're right. If you're looking for someone to like
Experience.
teach your kid versus like keep them alive,
Yeah, those are two
that's
different
That's a
tax
different
brackets.
price.
Yeah,
That's
two
public
different-
school versus private
Yeah,
school, right
yeah.
there.
So I'm just trying to defend my horrible answer. That is.
I was like, Jesus.
You're thinking like a live-in nanny.
Could you imagine?
I know people who can't go out and hang out because they can't get a babysitter or they don't want to get a babysitter because it's very expensive.
Well, and as comedians, I think that steps up our game because if I thought that the couple in front was spending $400 to have a babysitter, then dropping money on the ticket price and
And the
drinks
two-drink
at that
minimum.
venue, you better. It's like I heard Veer Das was on a website or was on a podcast with Mike Birbiglia, and he's like, these kids came to my show and gave up having lunch for like an entire semester to pay for my show. He's like, I will never do less than 200% at a show anymore because people are, and that's the thing. We're the entertainment for the night, and if they're paying $400 for a babysitter, like you better be killing it. You know what I mean?
So you mentioned though that you talk about being a parent as part of your routine, right?
Yeah.
Like you just write that on the fly, and how do they go over? And you
It
feel like
went
you're going to
over-
be a guy who talks about their kids a ton.
I'm not gonna like. I don't want to like be one of those parents that talks about like hating their kids. Like I've always hated that. I don't know why. Like watching parents on stage talk about just like how much they hate their kids or like they hate being a parent. It's like, all right, man, like your kids aren't here to defend themselves. Like don't fucking, you know what I mean? Like if you just want to get out the house just to talk, shit on your kids, that's one thing. But I don't know. So, but for me, like in stand up, like I want it to be like something like I don't want to punch down on my kid. Is what I'm saying. I guess.
Now, is there anything out there of you on YouTube that you're like, oh, my kid's gonna find this one day?
No, honestly,
Okay.
and everything that is unlisted. So
There you go.
Nice,
Good.
nice.
All right. Because that's the other. I was funny because like when I was in college, Facebook just started, and Ursinus was one of the first schools to actually be in the network before it was like a whole thing.
Oh.
And when I got to student teaching, I heard kids talking about Facebook, and I'm like, "What do you guys know about Facebook? That's like a college only thing." He's like, "Oh no, Monsieur, everybody can get it now," and I'm like.
Like, oh shit, everybody.
And I couldn't sign in anymore because it was according to my Ursinus email. So I had to like contact Facebook because like my profile picture was like me senior year with like
Shotgun
these
and
two
two
girls
beers.
like kissing my cheek
Oh, boy.
simultaneously.
What?
That was my profile picture.
That's awesome. You should
and-
find that.
I have it. I do have it on there now. I've
wanna
taken
see
it
that.
down, but I just never forget that because now it's like, oh my, that was the only thing. Because then we didn't quite get it. Like I was the first era of Nokia flip phones, and like you still didn't quite get the concept of a digital footprint. And like so now for me as someone who already had kids by the time I started putting content out there and being a teacher, I had to think about, wow, I have to be super proud. Even like being on this podcast, I have to be super proud of whatever it is I say and do because anybody could be watching this. Some of my kids that are in my first period
your kids'
class
friends,
could be watching this right now. I can't imagine they won't listen to me when I'm in class. Why would they listen to me now? But like there's just all of those things that you have to think about now because you're like, and I think I've heard other people that we've interviewed say they didn't want to talk about their kids yet, or like Mark Riccadonna, until the kid had a chance to be like, oh, I didn't know dad felt that way about me, or oh, I didn't. Like, so I think that was smart. It made me take pause and some of the things as I'm actually writing a bit right now about the being at the hospital when my first one was born and just all the madness of that. And, cause they, like how different it was than what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to show up with cigars, pace in the waiting room.
Oh,
and they're
really?
like, yeah.
Did you think it was like the 1950s?
It's a girl. Get the
nothing.
Dutch masters out.
When I
Jesus
tell you, I
Christ,
had
dude.
no plans on what it would look
That's
like.
my question for Manny. Manny, I'm sorry, I don't know how far along the young lady is, but
23 weeks, 24 weeks, somewhere around.
that means nothing to a single guy. I have no idea what that means. No,
She's like, divide by
divided by
four.
four,
Divide by
yeah.
four.
Oh, no.
Sick.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering how because that's what I think my thing has been. Even my sister's having kids. I'm always like, oh man, the hospital. Where's your head at with everything that you got to do with the hospital? Prep for all the stuff that you guys have to do. Like, what are you guys doing? I don't even know.
Well, I mean, I've definitely been like mentally preparing for that because I know that's something that is going to fall a lot on me as far as like, transportation and stuff. So the lucky for us, the hospital that we're going to is not very far away. It's about like 5 minutes, maybe 6. I mean, but other than that, I've never experienced that.
Do you
part
go
of
on
it.
the visits? Because like the visits
Yeah,
now
yeah,
are
I've
like
been-
once a month, and then eventually,
Yeah.
as you get closer, they get 2 weeks and weekly. By the time you're getting into that third trimester, which,
Yeah, I've been
you
going
know,
with her to every
because you're right
doctor
in like the
visit.
second trimester right now, right?
Yeah,
There's probably like
yep.
a grapefruit in there right now or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It says we have an app that
Yeah,
says
exactly. Of course
it's
you do.
like
Yeah, we all do.
a water of
Yeah.
some
All
kind
right.
of fruit.
Well,
or
this is
something.
perfect. So, okay, so here's some terms I looked up that I wanted to test how much you knew stuff. So
Oh
if I
God.
said something
Oh my
like
God.
tummy time, does that mean anything
Oh
to
shit!
you?
I know.
Tummy time is where you give the baby all the snuggle kisses on their tummy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay.
So, okay.
No, but I like the enthusiasm. at which
That
you
was
hit
so
with.
great. That was such
You
great
trick a lot
improv.
of
I
people
love
with
that. So tummy time is when you put the baby for periods of time on its stomach on like a little cute blanket. That way it's neck muscles. It's got to start getting the reps for being able to hold its head up and do some of those. So it's giving them that time because it's uncomfortable for them. They're going to be like, their head's going to be like a bobblehead doll.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is one of the weirdest things about that
Yeah.
floppy neck thing. That's
So
good
that's
luck.
what'll
weird.
happen. You'll get that cute. Somebody will give you'll get 10 of them in your registry. You'll get like a cute little blanket. It'll have like these little like things that go above. So they'll all be on their back playing and swatting things. And then every once in a while you'll be like, all right, we got to tip over. You're not going to like it, but they got their
okay.
struggle. It's like watching them struggle. Like,
Yeah,
watch,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
So weird.
See, I've seen that. I just never knew that it was called something so cute.
All right. So Ferberizing.
I don't know.
Ferberizing?
Yeah, it actually was in Meet the Parents. You ever watch with Ben Stiller? And
Yeah, yeah.
So they mentioned
you
Ferberizing.
can milk anything with nipples.
Yeah, that's what that's what I learned from.
So Ferberizing
That's
is
all I know. Was that part
Ferberizing
of
is
that?
one of the techniques. So no, it's the
Oh, okay.
technique to let the baby cry. So it's named after some doctor who had the theory that when a baby cries, you let the baby cry, which your emotions won't let you do. That'll be fighting.
See, I know that, but I just didn't know.
you don't
it
know the
was- it had
title,
a name.
right?
Yeah,
he
I
knows
get
what
it.
he's doing.
I
He
get
knows
it.
what he's doing.
Of course you do, but these are the fun things. Okay, how about this? Colic.
I know what colic is.
Okay.
That's when a baby is they're like fussing, but like they don't for
You
like
know-
no reason.
Well, so it's actually not for
it's not
it's
burping, right?
intestinally. It's intestinally.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they can't. They gotta like fart and they can't. Like
Or
there's like
burp
a
or just
gas
fart?
intestines. It might be either way.
But there's
I think-
nothing you can do about
But
it.
there's
right?
it's like it's trapped and it's just not able to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then sometimes you can like give massage the
Yeah.
belly and do some
Rice
of those
cereal.
pieces.
That's one. Rice cereal.
You'll never.
Oh,
there,
okay.
Yeah.
do you know what rice? Do you know what rice cereal is?
Yeah. Like
What is
yeah.
what is it?
It's it's like oatmeal, right?
Not really. Is it?
Oh, okay. Then I
It's like
don't know
something
what
you
rice
know. It's
cereal
something you
is.
Manny,
thicken
I don't know
up,
why
like-
they're embarrassing because we have your girlfriend, your soon to be wife on the other line. She is
Oh,
quizzing.
thank
She
you.
knows that she's in. She knows when you're messing up, buddy. So don't worry about it. It's
Thank
not
you,
looking
thank
good.
you.
Episiotomy.
Episiotomy.
Ooh,
Okay.
I know
well,
that
if
one.
I didn't know what ferberizing is,
So episiotomy is. Do you know what a perineum is?
So keep in mind that he's a Latin teacher. So a lot of
is
this
not
stuff,
fair.
shit, he
Correct.
just
What
knows the
are these
definition of it.
words?
So okay, so
You
the
have a
perineum is
dictionary in front of you right now?
the anatomy term for the taint, essentially.
Perineum.
Why'd you
Okay.
just
So
say
in-
that?
This is just Jay flexing. This is all
Yeah,
this
what the
is.
fuck,
It is.
dude?
It is.
yes,
Mr.
yes,
Stupid, I get
that's
it,
true.
I'm
So the perineum is the taint.
So and the
Okay.
episiotomy is the procedure when the baby's so big, you
Oh,
have to like cut
create
a little
space.
bit to help it out, and so then they have to sew it back up.
I
a
have
little
to. Do I
bit.
have to do that?
Yes.
It depends on your insurance.
You get to
I mean,
cut
it
the
depends
stitches.
on your insurance. So.
Yeah, so you know, so I was actually going to ask you. My daughter was a scheduled C-section. Best thing ever. It was very. It was just you knew what to expect.
Yep.
Are you doing that thing, or are you just going to let nature run its course and then you're going to deliver when deliver?
I think we're letting nature run its course. I'm kind
Okay.
of leaving that to her. I'm not
Do you
going
know-
to really
do you know- I
tell
mean,
her
I
like,
don't-
hey, you have to do it this way. You know?
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, and whatever the safety of the baby at the time is really.
Yeah,
what dictates
yeah.
it, you
That's
know
what-
what I
that's
mean?
what it
Like
was for her.
you hope for natural, and then you go with whatever.
Yeah, and I'm sure she'd be down with whatever the doctor
I want
recommends
to.
too.
Here's
so.
another one more. Skin to skin.
Oh,
I know what that is. That's
it.
when
Let's hear it.
Then when you hold the baby after it's born, like close to you, to
Yeah,
get
shirtless,
comfortable.
and you're
or whatever.
like, yeah.
yeah.
I know what that
It'll
is.
be your
because-
Instagram profile pic for at least.
Yeah.
This is Al's favorite, swaddling.
Yes, that
Oh,
is
I
my
know it's
favorite.
swaddling. That's when you cover the baby up in the blanket to make it feel like it's nice.
They're like a
and-
burrito, a baby burrito.
Yeah. Baby
Yeah,
burrito.
swaddle,
Yeah.
man.
That Al takes great
A lot of pride in my
in
swaddle
his
ability.
swaddling
Oh, yeah?
techniques.
Nice.
Yeah, he did it for me earlier today. It was very nice.
It was
Oh,
awkward when I walked in.
You're still
but, you
tucked in right now. Huh?
I'm still tucked in right
I
now.
was like, this whole producer relationship thing.
I remember I used to do this thing with my daughter, like to make her stop crying. Did you have any tricks to make a baby stop crying?
No, I just
There was
cried.
two-
I
there
just
was two
started
things.
crying myself.
There was two things.
That's
you
what I
could
would do.
One was to go into the garage.
Yoderizing.
The change of temperature for my daughter from the garage to the house. You would go out in the cold and she would just stop because she could tell that there was a change.
Well, like my mom used to put me in the car and like start the car
Okay.
or like drive around the block.
She would let you be in the garage
She
with the
would just
exhaust.
let me see.
Yeah.
She's like, let's see.
She
And
put you in the
other one
garage.
was the other one was
Lifetime
make a
movie.
very deep, like I would put my daughter on the chest and I'd make a very deep, like humming.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And I would
yeah.
go like up and down, and I would put her out, and I felt like I was the guy. I could that was like 98% success rate.
That's
All right,
awesome.
one more. Nipple confusion.
mean,
That's
that's
when
pretty
I
cut
can't
and
tell the
dry.
difference between the right and the left one.
And so if you bottle feed and then you're like going between feeding and trying to naturally breastfeed, there's confusion. Although I will say, I've had a baby try to go after my nipple. I was holding my nephew one time, and he was
Nice,
like
wow.
going hard at
So
mine.
brave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But they make
Did he
that
get
good
anything
shit,
out of
right?
it?
No, I mean I told him he can milk a cat, right? I mean, why can't
Yeah,
you milk
you
me?
can milk
I don't
anything
know.
with nipples.
You can milk anything with
I had a
nipples.
girlfriend like that for a bit.
But they make don't they make a shirt for dudes that like simulates a teat?
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen that.
the only thing I can prep you for is I will say when you go to the hospital, I don't know what your hospital's like, but they will make you watch and sign a waiver that you watched a shaken baby syndrome video.
Right. We
Yeah.
talked
Oh,
about
I heard
this.
about that.
And it is
Yeah.
intense, so just try to like take a nap if you can during it. Although I
Yeah.
will say watching it was I'm glad I watched it with the first one. I'm glad she let me sleep through it on the second one.
I don't
because
remember what it. I don't. I must have. I had to watch it.
it's
you
just
think?
like it's just like a after school special video, like going through these accounts of how common it is for
Someone to shake a baby.
and how dangerous it can be and how many kids have died from it and
That's terrible.
Is there
like
is there a
brain
celebrity?
damage
Is there-
that can happen and
Is it like voiced over by Matthew McConaughey?
It's
or
something like that.
Yeah,
It is
George
James Earl
Clooney is on
Jones.
the.
if it was Morgan Freeman, I had to watch the whole goddamn thing. But yeah, those. I mean, that's nobody can prepare. I still have visuals on watching that. It was just so.
Oh, good, dude. You're going to experience more trauma. Man,
That's
good job,
exactly
buddy.
what it is. It is. It's necessary trauma because you need to.
You know,
get that.
I did notice that going back to like the people giving you unsolicited advice. The one thing that people have been saying is like it's very like they're I guess they're preparing me for the worst. So they are saying like all this type of stuff about the that and like the sudden infant death syndrome. sort
Oh
of stuff.
shit,
Like,
that's heavy.
all this other stuff, like they're telling me, it's like, oh, okay, man, I can't wait to have this
Dude,
baby. It's
and
gonna
they
be
say
so much fun.
and they say like if it's happening and you find yourself like hulking out or like getting to a thing where you're like that like changing into this like person you don't know, you leave the baby, like that baby will survive, let it cry, go out of the house. Like they were giving all sorts of weird tips on that to like if
Wow.
you felt like you were getting to
Yeah.
an instance and you won't know. Like I mean, when you're in it like that and you're going to work like normal and you're trying to do all those things, you're not sleeping at night, baby's crying, like there's so many things. It really does. It messes with you on a level I didn't think was possible.
Wow.
I didn't think I had it in me to get to a level where you feel like that.
Have you ever felt like you wanted to shake a baby?
I had moments where I felt myself turning into the
Really?
werewolf that could do that.
Holy cow!
Never got that part because then I instantly remembered
went
that
to the
video.
thing. Wow.
And I tagged out and I just went out. But like you get this thing where you're just like, why are you crying? Like you can't there's just you just
That's heavy stuff.
We
It's a-
can't
Well,
leave
guys,
it on
I'm
this
so
note.
excited.
Yeah, we
guys.
can't.
I'm
Yeah,
so
do,
excited.
do you have a question for us? We've been asking all these questions about expected. What questions? I
Sort
mean,
of.
we're the guys who've done it. I think we've done okay. What questions do you have for us? I mean,
I
we
think,
have daughters. We try to do comedy as much as we can. We're doing a lot. I mean, throw something our way, bro.
What was like the hardest adjustment you guys had to make when you had your first kids?
Oh, what a good question. Did you write that down before? Did you?
No,
know
I
it
actually,
does?
I literally just thought of it on the spot.
The biggest change I made and one of the hardest changes to make was to realize like you're a parent 24/7, and for me like going out on a Saturday night and just having like 4 beers or, you know, staying out till 2 a.m. was a bit of an overkill, and I wasn't going to be able to perform the duties of a father the following day. And really realizing, like, you know, pay attention to what's going on. It's 9 o'clock. You should probably be in bed, because tomorrow you're going to have to chase around a 3-year-old at the Sky Zone for at least 5 hours, and you're going to want to be sharp. And I think I learned the hard way, though, because there was times when I did stay up too late. I did have a little too much fun, and I'm like going into this thing with a headache or a hangover or just a real crappy attitude. And it's like, I don't want to waste my time feeling like shit and doing a poor job. That was a big, like, oh wow.
How did you sort of like juggle that? Were you doing comedy at the time? Or
no, at first I wasn't. How I juggled it is I just was like, dude, you got to grow the fuck up. Like, you can't do that anymore, Albert. You don't want another beer. Now I barely drink at all, but like,
I mean, I've already cut back drinking.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really, you know.
But I used to
do
be
all
like the guy. I wanted to go out. I wanted to drink a beer, and then I wanted 2 beers, and I wanted 3 beers, and then like at that age, it was too much. It was too much, and then I'm not the father I wanted to be, and it was my fault.
Yeah. So you have some lifestyle and mind stuff there, control over your environment.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Jay, how about you?
The biggest adjustment was for me was one, getting the house ready, because I'm not handy. So like making sure the kid couldn't like stick their hand in a socket and like all of those little pieces. Yeah. Fortunately, they make outlets now. We had a buddy of mine who's an electrician put them in where that like they're child-proof ones that they can't.
Oh,
nice.
Manny, where are you at? Because where are you at with the baby proofing at the present moment?
I would imagine that because
we've just got a bunch of stuff on the registry right now.
Gotcha.
But even if you just put those white casing,
that's what I was going to ask
you.
I just thought the old plastic.
Well, they have, but we just got them in, so then that way that we didn't even have to worry about it. Like they were just there, and then we didn't have to grab them. But you know, stuff like that, you're not realizing like the little cupboards they can get into,
pulling on
the
furniture,
things they can do. Anchoring TVs and like things that people are like, oh, I don't have to do that. It's fine. It's sturdy enough.
No.
And a kid's grabbing it, and all of a sudden that
climbing
TV is going to flop. Like you can't make all of a sudden you have to plan for the worst case scenario.
Right.
And then I was I always was out of the house. I was always doing something, coaching, moving. And so, you know, for me, even though I wasn't doing comedy, it was the same thing. So your schedule, and you're really going to have to be mindful of that. And like, you'll eventually figure it out. But I think it's going to be a period of time where you're probably going to go dark from like your friends and stuff like that. And so I think your relationship with some of your friends who don't have kids, it's going to change. Not that it's going to go away, but it's going to change. Either they're going to not want to be around you because they don't want to hear about babies because they don't want to think about it themselves, or you be around people or friends who can't. Like I had a cousin who couldn't have a baby, and everything was a sore topic.
Shit.
You know what I mean? And he didn't mean to, but you just wanted to share, and your share was causing them pain. And sometimes you don't realize you're triggering people like that, and they could be people close to you like that. And you know, relationships change, but that's, you know, we've all had relationships change, whether it's like childhood to high school. But
another positive, Manny. Another one there, buddy.
But no, it's good. This is good. I mean, this is good to know. Like, I you know, I value you guys' like input because, you know, you guys have been through this before. I think my thing is because like I already don't really go out. Like I'm not like a very like I mean I only go out to do stand up. Really, you know what I mean?
Okay.
The only other times I go out is to work, and that's it. So I think I'm okay with that kind of stuff. My big concern is, of course, you know, doing stand up and, you know what I mean, knowing the hours of like some shows that you do, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you guys both understand.
Well, you'll see our episode next week, or I guess I should speak in the past, a few weeks ago, was Joey Callahan. And so with the Mark Riccadonna. So if you look back on some of those episodes, like those are people who are family men still with their significant other and having very successful stand-up careers. So it's
I know
like
it's possible to be done. Like
totally,
you can do it.
And the investment, all of this stuff that we're saying is like bad. It's like, oh, it's so serious. At the end of the day, all of that is worth the investment. It's worth right. The juice is worth the squeeze. Like all 100%,
of that,
100%. Like all you talked about earlier. You said it's all of you're excited about. Like you have this legacy now. You have this future. You have these feelings you didn't know you had before. That's the payoff. And to keep enjoying those feelings, there's an investment in all of the things that we talked about of like that are kind of downers, right? So like Neil, how old are you, Neil? Like Neil, like John, like what a downer. I'm like so said by someone who doesn't have kids in their mid-30s.
Yeah, Neil, you don't get it, dude.
But like it's like one of those things. It is the reality. It doesn't mean I would not discourage. And
I have tenants, so I'm raising.
I know you're
I'm raising 3 adult men right now.
That so proves my
that's
point.
even harder.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, yeah.
See, Manny knows.
Yeah, I think Manny's got a good. You know, he knows what type of father he wants to be, which is good. He's got some experience. He's got some things that he experienced that he doesn't want to duplicate. I mean, that's a really
the first 10 minutes.
that's a
If you
really
look back
good-
at the first 10 minutes of this episode and how Manny came in, that's all you needed to know. Like I was like, I'm not
The
worried about
rest of the
Manny.
podcast you don't want to listen to.
Don't even
Well,
listen-
this,
I
if you
wouldn't
made it
listen to
this
it. Turn
far,
the
you
shit
already
off.
did. If you made it this
That's a
far,
good point.
you're
That's a
in.
good
You
point.
know,
That's a
but
good
like,
point.
but I think just those first 10 minutes told me personally all I needed to know because I have Matt. We don't get to hang out a lot, but like you're someone that I saw at like Soul Joe's and some of those, and you'd always be smiling. You were always attentive, and like as someone who was just starting comedy, like I always loved seeing you. I always loved hanging out with you, and even though we're not like tight like that, I feel that if we were around each other, we would. And I always had mad respect for you, and so
Thank
to
you,
even
Jay.
see
I
this,
appreciate that.
it just adds to that. It just adds to the picture I already thought of who you were. So I think
I
it's
really
cool.
appreciate you saying that, Jay. I've always thought you were a really nice guy too. Every time I saw you, you're one of those people that always made me smile. So that's probably why every time you looked at me, I was
so it's
smiling.
This is getting cute as fuck.
See,
right
that's
now.
Yeah,
why-
sorry.
Very
see,
cute.
see, Neil just had to
I'm
hold
having
his
fun.
horses
Always
a
made
little
me
bit.
smile, baby.
No, but
You know
no, it's
what,
serious.
Albert, I met you for the first time today, and I would say the same thing about
There you go.
Isn't
There
he
you go.
attractive?
I'm
Oh my
smiling
god!
about
Like,
it.
yeah.
You are very
I'm-
attractive.
That's-
thank you very much.
that's why I
you're
get
in the
away.
middle.
Now I'm
How do you get
blushing. I was
away with
smiling,
this?
now I'm
I was
blushing.
like, my wife just knows I'm with Alan, so it's okay.
Yeah,
No.
man. I think you're right. You know, the first 10 minutes was serious. Your energy is right. I mean, that's what it's about. You're not going to be perfect. None of us are. There's never been a perfect. If you bring that good energy, though, you'll do pretty good.
Yeah.
Man. You'll do a really solid job, and that's all you want to do is be pretty good.
Yeah,
'cause you're not
that's
gonna
all I
be
aim to
excellent.
be.
You're
That's
not
right.
Gonna,
Pretty
now,
good.
parenting, you're not going to be excellent.
Now, before we go,
Yeah.
do you wanna promote anything? I'm thinking this probably is
I had
not.
one question. I'm
Go
so
for it.
sorry.
Oh.
Just because you mentioned it earlier, and I've been wondering what you were gonna do. You said you want to share with your daughter the things that you're into. What's one thing you're
Yeah.
excited to share with your daughter when you time appropriate? Obviously, what's the one? Is there a big thing?
The biggest thing for me is pro wrestling. I'm a big pro wrestling fan.
Yes.
Okay,
And I cannot
here we
wait
go.
to just put something on. I still don't know. I think it's gonna have to be like a really good women's match of like the past like 10 years or something, because it's
Glow.
I
Glow
really I
matches.
cannot wait. I'm so excited.
My
for
grandfather
that,
and I have fond memories of WWF wrestling.
Hell yeah.
And so that's cool. That's awesome, dude. I can't
Yeah.
thank you enough. Is there anything you want to plug? This probably won't drop till like April, so I don't know if you have April, May, or if you just want to direct them to Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing shows up until baby comes. So just follow me on Instagram at emanny. It's EM4NNY. It's on the screen. But just follow me. Yeah, that's where I post like shows. Listen to my podcast, A Boy in His Fridge. It's a podcast I do with another comedian, Mike O'Donnell. You can follow us on Instagram at A Boy in His Fridge. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
Dude, thank
Thanks
you
for
for your
joining,
time, man.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Seriously, Dad? Seriously? Ah, seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad.
Dad? Seriously?
Dad.
Seriously? Seriously?
How you doing? This is Neil Wood from the Cult of Us podcast, speaking on behalf of Drop 10 Media Network, the network you're currently listening to. Make sure to check out all the other podcasts on the network. You can go to drop10.com to check them all out. Make sure to like, subscribe on everything that you see Drop 10 on. We appreciate it. Go to drop10.com now.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.